Chief Warrant Officer 3, Clifton Wolcott, and Chief Warrant Officer 2, Donovan Briley, Super 6-1 crashed into the city streets of Mogadishu. Inside were Specialist Ray Frank, James Cavaco, Thomas.
Oh shit, is that
Joyce
it going down there?
Joyce. Then, to make matters worse, Super 6-4 would also get struck by an RPG and crash land in the heart of the city.
Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be checking out how Rangers and Delta took back Mogadishu, uploaded by Popo Medic. This is the real story of Blackhawk down allegedly, so I am going to be interested in learning some more about that. I saw the movie years ago, so I don't really recall it too much, and the event itself I'm pretty sure took place in the 90s, so obviously before my time as well. I don't really want to misspeak too much on the events that took place there. I don't even really know why America was there to begin with. I believe instability in the region caused by one of the multiple warlords in that area, but I'm not entirely too certain. I think the assets were just being attacked and that's why troops were deployed. For the incident of Blackhawk down itself, I believe 1 or 2 American Blackhawks were shot down. Unfortunately, the crew of those helicopters, I believe, were killed, as were, I believe, 2 Delta snipers that were deployed to one of the crash sites, basically to try to conduct a rescue ops, try to get the survivors out alive. Fortunately, I believe they were killed as well. I think there was 1 survivor, if I recall, from the movie. But again, I know the movies, obviously, the Hollywood movies, obviously, large amount of dramatization in all those films. You know, I don't really take them too seriously in terms of the historical accuracy of them, more just like the gist of the event. So with that in mind, I'm going to be interested to learn more about this event. Again, as a Canadian, don't really know too much about it. It's not something that's taught over here, not something we learn about. So yeah, of course, if you guys enjoy this reaction, hit that like button, subscribe for more content from me, and of course leave your recommendations down in the comments below. Really appreciate that, guys. Join our Discord if you're not in, and of course a big thank you to all of our members before we get started here. Now, without any further delay, we're going to leave a like ourselves. Captions are on. Quality is 1080p. We're full screen. Now, without any further delay, guys, let's get it.
Sunday, October 3rd, 1993.
Yeah, 93.
Somalia. 40 Delta Force operators and 120 Army Rangers overtake the city of Mogadishu to capture key lieutenants of the infamous warlord Mohammed Farah Adid.
Okay.
But as the teams moved through the city, Adid's militia quickly took up arms, opening fire on teams on the ground and downing 2 Blackhawks with RPGs.
Yeah, it was 2 Blackhawks.
Turning a quick capture-kill mission into a hellish 15-hour firefight, as Delta Force and Rangers alike, desperate to rescue and recover personnel within the crash sites, had no other choice but to shoot their way through the city in an impromptu rescue mission that inspired Ridley Scott's epic Blackhawk Down.
Yeah.
This is that story.
Those little birds, man. Holy shit. Also, I'm guessing, yeah, this is all real footage from the time. First off, what an intro. That was a cool intro. Second off, yeah, just to reconfirm some facts there from what I talked about at the intro there. Yeah, so 2 helicopters. I guess they were deployed to kill this warlord. So they were tasked with a eliminate kill mission, right, as they said. Relatively quick, ideally, right? Clearly turned into a lot longer endeavor. And I guess the people of Mogadishu, to an extent, were fighting back as well. A lot of militant forces there. I suppose that were unexpected, or maybe expected, but it was just expected to be a quick entry kill mission, right? So yeah, it dragged on for a lot longer. And of course, when you're in enemy territory, especially a city like that, urban combat is hell. In the 90s, you know, I guess America especially, we weren't really too used to I guess urban ops like on large scale like that, right? Western powers in general, you know, we hadn't really had to deal with that really too much. So man, I can only imagine, like, you know, you don't really get training for all this intense urban ops, and maybe you do, right? But not to the extent that you probably should have. And now, fuck, you're just in here, you know, and it's like, Jesus Christ. And of course, too, with air superiority, too, they had a lot of helicopters there and whatnot. But to the extent that you can actually use those, I don't know what their ROEs were at that time. I'm assuming you couldn't just fucking bombard a city openly, right? Because a lot of civilians, a lot of external damage there. So really messy fighting, man. This isn't something I'd want to be a part of. Again, for the first real time, right? That, you know, you guys have doctrine for this type of thing. I imagine ROEs here would have been so messy. Operation Gothic Serpent. Okay.
In 1991, Somalia descended into a devastating civil war as a coalition of rival clans overthrew the Somali government, plunging the country into an existential humanitarian crisis.
Always something going on in Somalia.
Dissolving completely, chaos erupted throughout the region as factions, militias, and clans vied for power, causing even more opposition groups to emerge, leading to 6 months of intense conflict before a short-lived ceasefire was agreed upon, but it wouldn't last, as yet another group known as the Somali National Alliance emerged, led by former Somali Congress chairman Mohamed Farah Aidid, who quickly took control of the country's capital, Mogadishu. These conflicts didn't come without cost, as nearly 20,000 lives were taken by September of 1991.
Wow.
Many more were wounded, and hundreds of thousands displaced. But soon, over 300,000 people would die of starvation by 1992, and many countries worldwide, including the United States, attempted to deliver aid to the region, but their efforts were halted by Aidid's militia.
Really?
Even as the UN stepped in with an emergency resolution, as on December 1st of 1992, as part of a peaceful humanitarian mission to ensure the resources' safe delivery to Somali civilians, American soldiers were deployed to the war-torn region of Somalia and attacked by Aidid's militia. In response, the United Nations Security Council unanimously approved Resolution 794 on December 3rd of 1992, authorizing the creation of the Unified Task Force to establish a secure environment capable of successfully delivering humanitarian aid to civilians. Then President George H.W. Bush announced the deployment of American military transports to support Resolution 794, dubbed Operation Restore Hope.
Interesting. Just to pause right there. So yeah, it wasn't really necessarily to protect Western interest in the area. Maybe it was. At least that this video isn't really painting it out like that. More painted in the case of humanitarian actions, right? There's a national, I guess, a crisis going on, right? The UN is doing its job, surprisingly, in this case. It looks like, at least to a degree, but now they're coming under fire from militia forces, right? And this is basically just a warlord that's assumed power. Let's be completely real here. So yeah, America has put together a task force and now are going to be deploying troops to the area. That does make sense, right? And especially when you have UN forces coming under contact, right? Like, UN forces should be able to deal with themselves. I believe the UN should have, and very stingent ROEs, of course. Like, you're not going in to cause trouble ideally, but man, when you start getting contacted and when you see what these people are actively doing to civilians, I think that's when the UN needs to be a little bit more proactive in their approach there, in my opinion.
To support Resolution 794, dubbed Operation Restore Hope.
1.5 million people could starve to death. Food convoys had been hijacked. Aid workers...
10 Lockheed C-130 Hercules aircraft and 400 soldiers were sent to Mombasa, Kenya to airlift aid to Somalia. These transport aircrafts successfully delivered 48,000 tons of medical supplies and food to humanitarian organizations in Somalia. And Somali warlord Mohamed Aidid viewed these humanitarian efforts as a hostile escalation.
That's
and
crazy.
By June of 1993, his militia ambushed a peacekeeping convoy.
Only I can kill my own people.
Resulting in the deaths of 4 American military police officers. U.S. Admiral Jonathan Howard labeled Aidid an outlaw and quickly rebranded from humanitarian efforts to "This is why we don't have free healthcare."
Damn.
General
All
William
right, the
Garrison,
operation.
the United States Joint Special Operations Command, drafted a mission dubbed Operation Gothic Serpent, focused solely on the capture of Aidid and 2 of Aidid's top lieutenants. General Garrison's task force included 3rd Ranger Battalion 75th Ranger Regiment, the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment, and the elite Tier 1 unit, Delta Force. But before we get into the action, a quick word from today's sponsor, Aura.
Okay.
Recently, AT&T revealed that over 73 million customer records, both existing and former customers, were released on the dark web. They then recommended that individuals impacted strengthen their passwords, keep an eye on their account activity, and even consider freezing their credit or requesting fraud alerts from credit bureaus.
That's
Nobody
crazy.
should have to download multiple apps just because a company failed to keep their information safe. With Aura, you don't have to. Aura does it all in one convenient place, giving you a peace of mind, knowing Aura is working around the clock to keep your information safe and out of the hands of data leaks and data brokers. And by automatically opting out of data broker lists, Aura has significantly reduced the number of robocalls that I receive, giving me a peace of mind and helping secure my information. But that's not all they do. Aura provides comprehensive protection that includes antivirus software, a VPN for secure browsing, secure password management, identity theft insurance, and even credit monitoring all in one single app. You no longer need to manage multiple subscriptions to multiple apps on your phone. Aura
it's kind of cool. It manages your credit and whatnot, or tells you your credit and whatnot,
saving you time, money, and storage. If you'd like to stick it to robocallers and protect your information, I highly recommend checking out Aura. And the best part is they're offering you guys a 2-week free trial. Simply go to aura.com/Popo Medic or click the link in the description and protect you and your family's information today. The plan of Operation Gothic.
Very cool. I want to say real quick, of course, if you guys plan on using Aura, I know this is an older video of his, but if you do plan on using that service and, you know, maybe want to get a discount on it, I don't know if this link is still active, but of course, go check out this video. There'll be a link down in the description, of course, as always, and go use his link. You know, might as well try to get a little bit extra off if you plan on using a service like that.
In the description and protect you and your family's information today. The plan of Operation Gothic Serpent was to surround a 3-story residential building in Mogadishu, believed to be the meeting place of Adid and his 2 lieutenants. The operation would begin by inserting Delta operators on the rooftops via MH-6 Little Bird helicopters and Rangers on the ground to establish a perimeter via Blackhawks. To prevent Adid's militia from entering or leaving the area, a ground convoy would be deployed to provide security and extract the teams and prisoners back to base. The entire mission was expected to take less than 1 hour to complete. And on October 3rd of 1993, at exactly 3:42 p.m., the code word Irene echoed throughout the base as the team scrambled to board their aircrafts. The Little Bird helicopters descended onto the target building's roof. However, one of the helicopters mistakenly touched down a block north of the target building and became surrounded by hostiles.
Damn.
Private First Class Todd Blackburn fell 70 feet from a Blackhawk into the Somali streets, where he sustained severe injuries, requiring immediate evacuation. 10 minutes in, the ground convoy would arrive and stage for Delta. However, they too would soon be surrounded by Adid's militia, armed with AK-47s and RPGs.
And that's the problem too, and that's why like ROEs were so fucking weird. And like, what do you do, I guess? But look at how a lot of these people are dressed, like a lot of these combatants, right?
By Adid's militia, armed with AK.
Like, you look at this, right, and it's just plainclothes civilians for the most part, right? Like and that's the problem in these parts of the world. When you're talking about warlords, militias, it's just people that pick up fucking guns and you don't know who the target is, right? And in a lot of cases, it's kids. It's whoever is willing to fucking do it. In most cases, a lot of these people are not willing to do it, right? Doesn't matter. You don't know who your fucking enemy is. You know, you literally do not know who is a combatant and who is not. It's just such an awful place to fight. You know what I mean? Urban environment with no clear identification of who's enemy, friend or foe, you know? Well, obviously, you know who friend is, but you know, you can't just be going in there and tossing nades into fucking houses and clearing them that way, you know? Like, you got no idea.
47s and RPGs. And as one of those RPGs struck Blackhawk Super 6-1, all hell would break loose.
Battle of Mogadishu,
Piloted
okay.
by Chief Warrant Officer 3, Clifton Wolcott, and Chief Warrant Officer 2, Donovan Briley, Super 6-1 crashed into the city streets of Mogadishu. Inside were Specialist Ray Frank, James Cavaco, Thomas
Oh shit, is that it going down there?
Joyce. Then, to make matters worse, Super 6-4 would also get struck by an RPG and crash land in the heart of the city, claiming the lives of Chief Warrant Officer 3, Raymond Frank, and Sergeant First Class Earl Fillmore Jr. But Chief Warrant Officer 3, Michael Durant, would survive, as well as Sergeant William Cleveland Jr. However, Cleveland Jr. would die shortly after while defending the aircraft with Durant. Meanwhile, at the target building, the ground convoy was forced to retreat, and many were instantly killed during the initial attack. As Delta exited the building with their captured targets and no ride home, the men had no other choice but to hold their ground and await reinforcements. But nobody was coming. Each and every team was pinned down, causing their objective to become twofold: secure the crash sites and rescue the downed pilots and crew, while also extracting Delta, their prisoners, and themselves. But with little ammo for prolonged engagements, and being barraged by hit-and-run guerrilla-like tactics, the teams were off balance, making any sort of rescue impossible. Realizing this, Delta Force snipers Master Sergeant Gary Gordon and Sergeant First Class Randall Sugar volunteered to rescue the survivors of Super 6-4 and were inserted via helicopter 100 meters south of the crash site. Equipped with only sniper rifles and 1911s, while under intense fire from the enemy, Gordon and Sugar fought their way through a dense maze of shanties and shacks until reaching the crew members. They then set up a perimeter and extracted Durant from the bird, hiding him in a nearby shack. Gordon gave Durant his rifle with only 5 rounds left and said good luck before returning to the fight with his 1911, which he depleted until the death alongside Sugar. Durant would soon be located and taken prisoner by Adid's men. Meanwhile, over 90 Rangers and dozens of Delta Force operators.
I just want to, obviously give them a bit of fucking spotlight there. Those 2 Rangers that went in there, right? I don't believe they had to go in. All right. I think they wanted to. And I think it was also the case of, right, man, they just weren't equipped for the situation, right? You're going into hostile territory, you're completely surrounded, hundreds of enemy combatants. It's really going to be not counting casualties, a 2 on however many, right? Your third guy there, he's just sustained the helicopter crash. He ain't going to be combat effective, right? I don't know the extent of his injuries, the survivor there. But yeah, at the end of the day, you got a 5-round bolt action and, a 1911 with 7 rounds in it. However many spare mags, that's just depressing. Obviously they tried, right? And at that point, who knew the situation, right? Exactly what it would have been. And I don't know exactly how long they held out for there. But man, fucking good on them for trying, at least, I think that just goes to show the type of people that they were. And I guess the kind of ethos that the American military has, right? You're not going to leave people behind if you can try to help it, right? And if they could try to do something about it, obviously in this case, they weren't successful, but they still attempted their best. I think there's a lot to be said there,
He depleted until the death alongside Sugar. Durant would soon be located and taken prisoner by Adid's men.
That's
Meanwhile,
shitty.
Over 90 Rangers and dozens of Delta Force operators fought for their lives as darkness descended over Mogadishu. They would eventually reach and find the only survivors of Super 6-1, Staff Sergeant Daniel Bush and Sergeant Jim Smith, who spent hours defending the crash site. Bush would succumb to his wounds. Blackburn would be extracted from the fray, but at the cost.
Sorry to pause right there again, but yeah, and that's from the other helo that went down there. Yeah, the crew of that helo defended, and one of them actually managed to get out alive. It's a fucking wonder. I'm surprised. Again, just given their situation, I'm surprised any of them made it out alive there. Given, of course, the nature of where they went down and just how many enemy combatants potentially surrounded them. And also, again, I don't know what they're working with personal weapon-wise on a downed helo, right? I'm not really too sure what they would have equipped. I'm sure you guys got M4 carbines, you know what I mean, shorties. But other than that, and maybe service pistols, 1911s, whatever have you. But other than that, I'm not too certain. What I guess a helicopter crew would use as their mainstays at that time period. But Jesus Christ, either way, I mean, Fucking, you know, honor to him, man. Straight up.
Those wounds. Blackburn would be extracted from the fray, but at the cost of Dominic Pillow.
Damn.
And despite the casualties reaching double digits, the Rangers on the ground relied heavily on each other as they moved from one defensive position to another, often under heavy fire, to link up, consolidate, and treat the wounded, leaving no man behind. They would spend the next 9 hours fighting through the night, many running completely out of ammunition, even as Adid's militia closed in. But by 6 a.m., as the morning sun began to rise, the might of the U.S. and NATO forces swarmed Mogadishu, and the men were home free.
Wow. Both the lieutenants were captured, okay. Managed to evade capture and continue to be a prominent figure in Somali politics till his death in 96, okay. I was gonna say, I was actually curious. There was no bit on the captured U.S. soldier there. Durant was held as a prisoner of war for 11 days before being released, October 14th in 93. Okay, okay. Thank God. You know what I mean? You know, because again, like there were cases of people being captured by the Taliban and whatnot, and Al Qaeda, whatever have you, and brutal treatment, and it lasted for years. You know what I mean? They just wouldn't give them back. So at least, you know, I had a shitty to say, of course, and obviously those Delta Rangers died defending Durant and getting them out of that helo, right? So that would obviously, I'm sure, weigh on a man's mind, but no, thank God he didn't have to stay long in there. 11 days is obviously brutal and longer than anyone should have to in captivity like that, I'm sure, but you know, at least you guys got him back relatively quick there. Both posthumously awarded Medal of Honors. That makes sense. 18 Americans were killed. These are the names. Wow. Master Sergeant. Wow. Some of these ranks I don't know. I'll be honest. Like, SFC, is that specialist first class? Is that what that means? Like, some of these ranks, unfortunately, are not. Well, not unfortunately, but they just aren't ranks in the Canadian British military, right? Obviously, I know sergeants, right? CW3. I'm not familiar with that. Chief Warrant Officer. Yeah, Chief Warrant Officer. I'm assuming. Usually, I'm used to seeing an O associated with that, and we don't have like threes, like numbers associated with them either. But wow, yeah, I just want to pause on these names and just brutal operation, man, brutal operation. I think a lot more than any of these guys expected, you know, definitely. It was supposed to be an easy mission, you know, and it's always an easy mission until things go tits up and you're there for 20 hours, you know what I mean? Jesus Christ.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button. There's a lot more mini docs in the works, and you don't want to miss them. Be sure to check me out over on Instagram as well. And for those of you who reached out for the Battle of Athens casting, you should get an email or a message back very soon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
Awesome.
Goodbye.
Awesome. Yeah, sorry to pause right at the end there, guys, but No, I just wanted to get those thoughts in there. That was a great video. That was how Rangers and Delta took back Mogadishu, uploaded, of course, by Popo Medic. A great video explaining, I guess, Blackhawk down, the events that actually took place there. And again, wasn't trying to get any of the dramatization in a sense there. So I wanted to actually look at what happened there, and just look at exactly like what the events were surrounding it. It's something that's on my mind. I saw Blackhawk down referenced recently, and I was just like, shit, you know, I actually don't know a whole lot about that. So I wanted to kind of fill myself in a little bit and get some more knowledge about that. Saw Popo Medic had a video uploaded on it a year ago now, so figured why not, let's check it out. And yeah, thought that was a great video, guys. Really thought that was a great video. And yeah, man, just brutal situation, and fucking sucks that, you know, obviously American service members were killed. I'm assuming probably some of those guys not in great ways, just given the nature of Somalia and, you know, obviously the proclivity of some of the people from around there, right? Some of the warlords, right? So just brutal. But it just goes to show you, yeah, you know, there were heroes there. You know, there were people that tried their best, you know, and maybe they weren't successful, but they ultimately tried their best for their fellow soldier. And you know, I don't think that can be discredited in any way, you know. So I mean, yeah, glory to him, you know, rest in peace. Yeah, great video though. Thought that was very educational. If you guys enjoyed the reaction, hit that like button, subscribe for more content from me, and of course, leave your recommendations down in the comments below, guys. Join our Discord if you're not already in it. Appreciate that, guys. And of course, a big thank you to all of our members as well. Without any further delay, guys, this has been Centurion, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace, guys.